Hi guys, Miss Melissa here for another Wednesday Music and Arts. Today we're going to create another art project. You received in the mail several weeks ago a packet of construction paper. We've been using the construction paper for some projects, but today we're going to do a special project. We're going to use the paper to create an art form that was first started in Japan, and it's called, and excuse me if I mispronounce it, chigiri, chigiri. And the art form is using torn paper to create a picture that looks similar to something you would use with watercolor. Last week, some of you used watercolor. I used watercolor in the posters that I made. This week, we're going to use torn paper to create our art. So what you're going to need is, of course, your construction paper and glue or glue sticks. Those are the two items that you need. You can also use some scissors if you want to cut your construction paper into large pieces to tear, or smaller pieces to tear, if it's easier to tear it that way. So the first thing you're going to do is look for something in your home that you would like to use to create into a torn paper picture. So just look around and see if there's something you can find. If there's nothing in your home, you can always use your imagination and think of something that you envision, a picture that you envision in your mind that you'd like to create with torn paper. I looked around and decided I was going to use this vase of flowers for my inspiration, or to help me to create my picture. So I noticed that I needed some purple and white and green and yellow, and that looks almost like a little bit of orange. So I found those colors of construction paper to use. I also found one large piece of construction paper that I'm going to use to glue my picture on. So you need one piece of construction paper to glue your picture on. So using this as my guide, I started thinking about how I wanted to create the picture. And then I started getting the papers ready. Now, one thing you can do, as I said before, I noticed that there are small flowers on here and small leaves, and I didn't need large pieces of paper for some of these flowers. So I took the larger piece of paper, I took my scissors, and I cut off some pieces of paper because I knew it'd be easier for me to tear those pieces of paper. So you can use scissors to cut smaller pieces if you don't want to tear from the large piece of paper to a smaller piece that you can use to create your picture. And as we said, what you're doing is you are tearing the pieces to make the picture. One thing you want to remember, you can just rip them into small rips so that it's easier for you to control the rip instead of doing them really fast in case it doesn't help. I mean, in case you have something that you want to create that needs little intricate details. If you're making a round part to your picture, you have to tear the paper so that it makes something close to a circle. Then you want to take little tears and you want to turn the paper as you're tearing it to help you make the circle. And I would start with going a little larger than what you really want. So start tearing out a little larger than the size that you want in your tear in case you need to go back and tear some more away. It's much easier to make a larger tear or tear a larger piece and go back and fix the little pieces than it is to try to get it exact the first time. So what I did was I had my larger piece of paper. I'm going to show you my finished product. And I knew that I needed to make a vase, but I couldn't make a clear vase, so I picked blue paper. I ripped the blue paper. For the green paper, I did cut off a smaller piece because I realized it was easier for me to take the smaller pieces and to tear them than to take a really large piece and tear. And then I just carefully did it. Carefully pulled the pieces to make the stems of the flowers. Then I used my yellow pieces and I cut those into even smaller pieces because I didn't need large pieces to make the flowers, the yellow flowers and the white flowers. And if you look at them, you can see that I have the yellows and the whites. And there were some smaller flowers here, so I cut some smaller pieces. I saw that I had leaves, so I cut some leaves on here too. And then there were these purple flowers, so I found the purple paper and I used that too to look similar to these flowers. Then what I did was I took my pieces of paper that I had torn and I placed them down on the paper before I glued anything, because that gave me the opportunity to move things around if I didn't like the way they were. So I could take a piece like this, say I wanted to put another leaf on there. I put everything down to see what I thought first, and then I went back carefully and glued the pieces on with my glue stick. And that's it. This is beautiful artwork. Came to us from Japan. So I'd like for you to try using your construction paper. Remember, you just need one large piece of paper, and think about the color of the background of your paper and the colors that you're going to use for your inspiration piece, and make sure that that works with the background color that you chose. I chose the brown so that all the other colors popped out, so you could really see the colors that I used with the flowers. So try to see if you can find some inspiration. If you cannot find something that's going to inspire you or give you ideas of what to create, you have wonderful minds. Just think of something else that you'd like to use to create the picture. So I hope that you enjoy your artwork. Can't wait to see it. Bye.